Yes, good evening. My name is Joseph Openda. I'm the chairperson of the Nakuru Journalists Association. Today, this afternoon, we are saddened by the incident whereby one of our colleagues, her name is Catherine Wanjeri Kariuki, was shot in the line of duty by police officers who we suspect had aimed at her, and she was injured. So as you are speaking right now, she has been admitted at the hospital here. The doctors have told us that she was shot with 3 rubber bullets on the leg, and her condition has been stabilized at the moment, though she is awaiting to be taken to the theater. So we want to say this. The police officers appear like they seem to be targeting journalists who are in the line of duty. We've been receiving complaints from our members that they've been receiving threats from these officers when they are covering these demonstrations. We are wondering, why should a police officer target a journalist who is doing her work of informing the republic when she is not the one doing the demonstration? Our members were well identifiable because they are wearing their jackets. Others were carrying their tools of trade. So it was easy for this officer to identify this journalist, but this particular rogue officer thought it wise to focus his energies on on our member, which is something that we really want to condemn. As journalists, our role is to inform the society, and therefore it will not make sense when the state or the officers would want to silence the press. This is something that we look at it as an attack on the press freedom, and we would want the administration, the officers, the agencies involved to take action on this specific officer, and we are not going to stop at this point. We are going to push on to ensure that these officers or an action has been taken against the officers who, instead of doing their duty, they are targeting unarmed civilians. Of course, the constitution is very clear. These people are not supposed to use excessive force on the protesters, but as it appears, it's like the officers, for as much as we just had a handful of protesters in the streets, these officers decided to use the excessive force. We want to reiterate that as Nakuru journalists fraternity, we are not going to be cowed by these incidences of cowardice from the officers, and we are going to follow up with the county police commander to ensure that our colleague gets justice. Otherwise, we will continue doing our work, and we do not want to be threatened or intimidated by anyone. And we would want this to get to the highest authority, that journalists in Nakuru feel threatened. We feel intimidated since these protests began. We've had officers that are even intimidating our members, telling them straight to their face that today you are the people we want to target. In fact, we've been told that we had officers today who are pushing away journalists when they were trying to take cover, maybe to cover to get their photos or videos from a safety point. The officers were trying to flush them out. And if this continues, it is really going to be very difficult for our members to carry out their job. And we really want to condemn this. Otherwise, I would want to encourage our members also to be safe, because no story is really worth their lives. We are pushing through to ensure that legal action is taken against this officer, and we are taking the county police commander to account to ensure that this officer has been identified and an action taken against him. So on the question about the status of our colleague, from the doctors is that her condition has been stabilized. The bullets are yet to be removed, but she is about to go to the theater so that she can be attended to.
My name is Mecha Joseph. I work for the Media Council of Kenya as the regional coordinator Nakuru. Today, we are saddened that one of our colleagues was shot and injured. She's now in the hospital undergoing treatment. We feel that this is a violation of law. whereby journalists are being targeted. This is one of the several cases that we've received as the council all over the country, whereby journalists are targeted whenever we have demonstrations. I believe that this is maybe trying to, try to block, dissemination of information on whatever that is going on, especially at this time when we have demonstrations, all over the country. As the council, we are going to take this matter seriously. We're going to work closely with, the law agencies. We're going to work closely with the relevant, agencies to ensure that the law has been followed. We want to say sorry to those who have been injured, especially in this today's demonstration. It was dire, and our sister has been, injured, and we hope that, with time, maybe she will get well. What I'll say is this. Journalists are well identified. They wear press jackets. They're well identified. They have their cameras and all that. They walk on in groups and all that. So that means that whenever journalists are targeted, whenever they are shot and all that, that means that it's a targeted shoot. So we condemn this to the highest order. That this is very wrong. This is not the first time journalists have been injured, and we are going to do everything possible as the council, of course, to ensure that justice is served.
Thank you. My name is Aston Muchela. I'm the chairman of Law Society of Kenya Rift Valley region, and we want to add our voice to the journalists. Indeed, as you have heard and what we have witnessed today is something that is quite despicable, something that we do not expect to experience in our new constitutional dispensation. That a journalist can actually be shot at when she is covering this event, which is an event of an important nature to the country. Indeed, we want to remind our police officers that media, the freedom for the media is something that is guaranteed and protected by our laws. And this kind of intimidation should not and will not be allowed to go on. I want also to remind the regional police commander, the county police commander, and even the OCS that they subscribe to the provisions of the National Police Service Act, which actually requires that every bullet that is shot must be accounted for. We will want a report to know that why was this journalist fired at? Someone who is covering the demonstration, someone who can be identified, someone who is carrying her tools of trade. We want to know, was she a goon? Was she breaking into any building? If she was, let that building be identified. Was she attacking any other peaceful Kenyan? If she was, let that person be identified. Because when you are doing your peacekeeping activities as a police service, your duty is not just to fire bullets, whether they are rubber bullets or live bullets. You don't fire them at people. You only use ammunition when indeed there is a breach of peace. This is a journalist who is covering events, really. What kind of breach of peace can they justify? We find this is something that we will not just countenance. We will not allow it to go untamed. We will work with the Media Council to ensure that indeed there will be justice for Catherine. Because if that is not done, then this will become cancerous and our police will start meeting untold violence to our people. This is something we will not accept. We want even the IPOA to ensure that they get that report from the OCS, because he's the one who is in charge of that operation. We want a report to know who actually fired that bullet and why. Why was it aimed at a journalist? If there indeed was a breach of peace, they will need to explain, is there any building that was being broken into? Is there any violence that was being experienced where that journalist was? We will not countenance this. As LSK, we want to condemn that act with the highest voice that we can use. And indeed, we will use all the tools that are within our disposition to ensure that there is justice. That is not something that we'll want just to let not uncondemned. And we also want to tell our police that the protests that are happening in the country, these are lawful protests. Notices have been given to them. They are aware of them. Why can't they just come and do their work? Do they need to fire guns and lobby tear gas at people who are peacefully protesting? Surely, that we have seen someone who was shot at the head. If you shoot someone at the head, aren't you really aiming to kill that person? Even if you really wanted just to stop someone who is engaging in an unlawful activity, why aim at the head? Why chase against people even when they've sought refuge in a church premise? We have seen a lot of injustice happening today in Nakuru, and we think that is not something we will just want to let it to be swept under the carpet. We want to sound a warning to our police officers that this is something we will fight, this is something we will stop, because our constitutional freedoms must and shall be protected. And you as the police officers, you are people who are supposed to uphold our constitutional freedoms. So this is something we are condemning as the Law Society of Kenya, and we'll actually want to see if IPOA will give a report. If they will not give a report, we will be the ones to demand for it through all other lawful means. Thank you.
Very well. My name is Paul Masese. I am the presiding convener of Nakuru Civil Society Organizations Forum. Indeed, today is a very sad day. There was a handful of Kenyans expressing their disgust at the way this country is governed. Out of the blues, the police came, started with lobbing tear gases at these very harmless individuals, and then with time, they started shooting indiscriminately. Apart from Catherine, there are other Kenyans who have been hurt in the melee, and as we speak, there could be one or two others in other facilities undergoing treatment. When we gave ourselves a new constitution and renamed the police from a force to a service, this is not what we expected. Over the past couple of weeks, we have lost over 50 Kenyans to gunshots by the police that we pay to protect us. In the end, it must be said here and be emphasized that individuals involved in these unlawful shootings will bear personal liabilities. I think I joined the Law Society of Kenya and the Media Council of Kenya and the Journalists Union to say that as civil society will work in concert with each other to ensure that the individual policemen and women, because they are known, they were captured on video, lobbing canisters, shooting at unarmed protesters, will be brought to book. I think the international human rights law is applicable to Kenya holistically, and the chairperson here can confirm. If the Kenyan system is going to protect the rogue police, we'll move further to the regional system. We'll move further to international system. We have the mechanisms. All we can say, the only reason these policemen were shooting at the journalists is because they do not want their heinous acts to be covered, to be captured on camera. That's the only reason you are being targeted. You are the messengers. You carry the good message of democracy. You are going to bear witness through the lenses of your camera. You are going to bear witness of police excesses. And this is what they do not want. So we would urge you to remain steadfast, to stand firm in defense of our constitution and in defense of our democracy. The issues that Kenyans are protesting against are very clear to everyone. None other than the president has seated and said there are certain things we need to do differently. Why, after the president committed to Kenyans that extrajudicial killings is not going to have place in this country, why do we still have police shooting and killing Kenyans? Why are our parliamentarians, those who make and are supposed to protect the law, why are they keeping quiet? It's getting into the fourth, almost the second month now. Kenyans are being butchered in the streets, and the only crime is that they are demanding that the rule of law is protected. This is not the country we fought for. This is not the country the Constitution of Kenya has created. This is not the democracy we've aspired for. So as the media fraternity, we urge you to remain steadfast, keep safe. We'll stand in solidarity with you. and we'll work together with other stakeholders to demand accountability for those responsible for the injuries they've inflicted on Kenyans today and for the murders they have occasioned to many others who are yet to be buried and those that have been buried. So together, let's defend our constitution, let's defend our democracy. Thank you so much.